What is up, YouTube? It is Doc here, Docky Style Gaming, and I am back at it again with another GodFall video for you all today, where we are doing, once again, another beginner's guide. Now, this one, funnily enough, is one I meant to do post-launch, because I've never actually did a breakdown on any of the weapons after the game came out. I only did them before the game came out and with what little information we have, so I've kind of been meaning to put these type of breakdowns out on the channel for a while. So even though this might be for beginners, it's still for anybody in general who is just interested in GodFall and potentially going to be picking up the game to trying to figure out which weapons they want to have in their loadout. Of course, I'll be going over all 5 of the weapon classes, but today we're going to be going over one of my personal favorites, which is the Warhammers. So, like I always say, without wasting any more of y'all's time, let's actually hop straight into this info. Now, I do want to get this out of the way. I might be a bit biased towards Warhammers because just about every build I have in game has a Warhammer at least in the secondary slot. But it is a really fun weapon to use, and the weapon techniques are pretty cool as well. Now, when it comes to Warhammers in the game, personally, I feel like they're one of the strongest just base damage weapons in GodFall. And then right after Warhammers is Greatswords. They're definitely the slowest weapons in the game as well, but they make up in damage what they lack in speed. Now, personally, I wouldn't rock it as my primary, but it is a very powerful secondary to have, especially if you build for it and can kind of spam those weapon techniques. Now, when it comes to the weapon techniques, Warhammers have 2 charge bars that fill gradually over time whenever you are attacking an enemy. Activating the Warhammer's weapon techniques, of course, will consume at least one of those charge bars. Now, the northern technique is called Concussive Smash. You slam your Warhammer to the ground and it deals damage to nearby enemies around you. It's not a massive AoE, but it still does a pretty decent amount of damage. Now, my favorite is the southern weapon technique, which is called Unstoppable Force, where you slam your Warhammer to the ground and it deals damage to enemies in a straight line, which is great for lining up multiple enemy hits at once or just dealing a massive amount of damage to a single target, specifically bosses. It deals a massive amount of damage, and as I stated before, you can somewhat spam it every time you use the ability. But that might be a build I touch on a little later on the channel. Now, along from the weapon techniques, from what I've noticed, hammers also breach enemies the fastest. Now, heavy attacks also deal increased breach damage, but whenever you're hitting with the hammer, you are definitely breaching enemies a lot faster, and are some of the go-to weapons, in my opinion, when it comes to taking down some of the shielded enemies. If you can't take them out with just pure strength, breaching them as fast as you can with the hammer is the best way to go, especially if you can perform a takedown once they're breached. Now, again, Warhammers aren't the go-to primary, though I'm not saying you can't use it as a primary, and I'm sure some tankier players probably have a lot of fun using it as a primary. But for me personally, I try to stick with faster primary weapons, and then my secondary weapon is typically the Warhammer. Because again, the amount of damage you can do, the southern technique, some of the abilities that you can pop, and the way you can line up and deal massive amount of damage is super ideal, at least to have one weapon like that in your inventory. Now, my personal favorite one that I have currently is the one that you can only get from the Ascended Towers of Trials, but with cursed items coming very soon in GodFall, I'm sure that's going to change pretty quick as well. But I just wanted to go over a brief breakdown now that we're finally post-launch with GodFall, going over my personal experiences with Warhammers and some of their advantages and disadvantages. But let me know in the comments section, what is your go-to secondary weapon in GodFall? Like I said, for me, on just about every Valorplate, I have to have a Warhammer. Now, again, I know it can be different for everybody else, so let me know because I'm kind of curious if I'm the only one out there. But other than that, I am going to wrap up this video. I want to try and keep it somewhat short, but thank you all for watching. And like I always say, again, if you haven't joined the Discord, definitely do so. Links to it is in the video description. We have LFGs, and we just chat and talk all things GodFall and video games for the most part. So if you haven't joined the Discord, definitely do so. Again, link is in the video description. Other than that, be sure to leave a like if you liked the video. If you didn't, still leave a like. I will catch you all on the next one. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the subs. Peace.